endangering a child. I'm not needless. I wouldn't. No. In your hypothetical, I wouldn't be needlessly endangering a child because I would censor the face. You dumbass.
Hello guys, it is I, the ultimate Joker, with our good bud here, Resikin, but most importantly, we have KinoFlex to discuss a pretty interesting scenario in terms of the fandom we've somewhat been brawling for the past year or so. For needed context, we were labeled as apparent endorsers of CSAM just because we let Arachnid youth stay in our server, even though he broke none of the rules within our server. We don't really have a stance on most of that, as this isn't really a subject matter we really wanted to talk about, but with 3 community posts from SK, Collins, and Gollum Grift, we sort of have no choice but to nail it out of the park, especially under the context that we have evidence that the people who do this are usually often up to it themselves. And Collins, based on what KinoFlex has under his belt, is apparently one of those people. But anyway, take it away, Kino.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, so my interactions with Colin and SK have always been negative, and I would say unnecessarily so. They're just really quick to anger and insults on their streams, and just entirely reject the idea that there can be added context in situations or new knowledge of things that they previously weren't aware of. This leads to them being obtuse and moving the goalposts frequently. And this is the case with the Arachnid youth situation. From what I have seen, he makes lewd art of fictional characters that various other artists online make, but he gets singled out by these two specifically because they found the art distasteful and were worried about how it would affect their personal brands. And that by itself, I don't really have a problem with. People have a right of freedom of association and don't have to be forced to be around each other if they don't want to be. If that alone was a controversy, I wouldn't really care. I would just tell Arachnid youth to get better friends. But they take a step way too far by calling him a file over the art by saying he's creating CSAM. What they're arguing is that even though Arachnid youth is aging up characters to resemble adults, like every artist that draws fictional characters, they basically accuse him of drawing them as if they were really anatomically accurate minors, which is blatantly untrue. And when this gets told to them, they double down and accuse him of thinking about characters sexually as minors, which is the most bad faith, batshit insane takeaway one can have. So there's not only no legal case against Arachnid youth, there's also not really a moral case against him either. But despite this, Colin and SK continue to accuse him of tracing CSAM.
Oh yeah, sorry to interject, I need something to double clarify. This is not really a topic we really prefer to engage in. They're the ones who usually bring this up. As far as what I know for Arachnid youth, I'll be honest, I don't really care to go through 4 hours or multiple hour-long videos on the research unless there's like actual cases.
Yeah, I could be watching Zack Snyder's Justice League instead.
Exactly. I mean, like,
Right.
I'm not gonna go through all that unless I have, like, proof of him pulling an EDP and trying to meet up with an underage girl, which didn't happen, or if there's, like, actual proof of him, but as far as I've heard about, no. Would that be right, KinoFlex?
Yeah, you're completely
Yeah,
right.
it
And
would-
they accuse him of essentially distributing like graphic content to minors when that isn't true. When I asked about it, I was told that the server that he was sharing it on was a private adult channel. There weren't any minors, so that's just completely untrue. Meanwhile, Colin himself, Colin and SK, they were distributing this stuff in their server, which full of minors, not caring that they see it or not. So really, they're doing exactly what they accused him of doing, but they just don't really recognize that.
Okay, so yeah, definitely projection. I mean, like, as far as I know, me and Resikin have not had any actual association with Arachnid youth beyond him just being in the server and a few conversations, but we've never made uploaded content beyond me, like, just sharing one of his videos on, like, Spiderman PS4 as a community post, but that's as far as it goes. And I know him personally, he told me this. He's like, I think he's like 24. His current girlfriend is 23. I know they took that out of context with some screenshotted.
When he was 1, she wasn't even alive.
Yeah, the point is, this is a person in like an actual relationship that's definitely not even concerning in the slightest. It's not like it's even a big age gap, as you just said, 1 year. But anyway, take it away, Kino.
Yeah, so I went and debated this
Unforgivable.
topic with Colin and SK, and their take on how to deal with potential pedophiles is just delusional because they don't know what they're doing. Like, they're not Chris Hansen. They're not experts. And I think this is really timely because right now in the news, there's a story of these college students entrapping another guy who is 22 years old for wanting to meet up with a 19-year-old on Tinder. So they, legally speaking, kidnapped him and tried like forcing a mob on him. But yeah, and so they're just getting the book thrown at them. So yeah, you have a lot of wannabe vigilantes going after people, but they either make shit up or just get facts just really, really wrong. In Colin's case, even though he's accusing someone of tracing a child and making out of it, he does not report it or send it to the FBI, but he will badly censor it and put it in his Discord server that he knows is almost entirely made up of kids. Showing kids is entirely worse than anything Arachnid youth did, and this is why I point out to Colin and SK. In response, they decided to freak out after they lost the argument. Colin and SK then proceeded to make videos about me where he explicitly says that he wants to cost me job opportunities by putting my full name out there. Then he tried contacting my boss on X to try and get me fired by lying about me. Then one of his fans contacted a family member of mine lying about me. And after that, I pretty much cut contact with them because they just flat out do not engage in debate in good faith or in any form of honesty.
But this all happened over Spider-Man games. We have no involvement in this, and we're being caught up in community posts when I'm just a 1030 sub channel.
They just can't engage with you in good faith, so they can't respond to your arguments, so they just attack your character.
You know, I actually have a rather prominent counterexample to people who may think that we're just being biased because, you know, we have them on a server and we want to cover our asses. That's definitely not what's happening. Because I don't necessarily believe that someone has to have a legal case against them for them to be. For example, let me use a very prominent person who fits under the category of not having a legal case against him, yet still being culpable for, at the very least, enabling pedophilic behavior. And that would be one James Gunn. He's known for directing the Guardians of the Galaxy films, the second of which I actually quite like, and unfortunately he's now in charge of DC despite him only ever having produced or directed total bombs, but that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make here is that there's a slew of remarks that he would make on Twitter in his mid-40s where he would just straight up admit to and espouse statements that have to do with him being into children. Apart from that, he actually hosted and associated with a notorious at his party, and this is not some random college party where this guy happened to be there, but no, it's actually a themed party, and you have images of him and the there at the party. This is enabling, not at all whatever gooner shit Arachnid youth might have been doing. And while I say there's no legal case against him, that's both true and not true, because he was indeed named in the legal case, the court case, against the pedophile he hosted for having hosted that party. You see, he's enabling the behavior. Just because you're not necessarily being accused of anything doesn't mean that you're not a pedophile, but I do not believe in the slightest that Arachnid youth at all falls under this criteria. And you know, now that I think of it, this makes SK in particular all the more hypocritical. You might be asking why that is. It's because, you know, if you just click on his channel right now, you'll see that he has a shit ton of videos. I mean, there already are a shit ton of videos, and emphasis on this shit because his content is frankly abysmal. I mean, if you can even call it content, it's just response video after response video after response video. There's like zero originality. The people who watch your videos, SK, people watch your videos, they only watch your videos because they get upset by the other videos that they see and want someone to talk on behalf of them. And there you are, champion of the nerds, champion of the consumers, champions of the people who can't stand it when anyone criticizes the product that they care about so much. Like, please, try and come up with something original for once. And the reason I only bring this up is not so that you can go and make fun of him. You know, we don't want to bully the guy. I think he already has enough problems going on for us to just, you know, pile on top of them. But he has 2 videos, or maybe it's 3, just, you know, defending Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I haven't watched the film, so I don't know if it's good or not, but apart from that, it's directed by that person, James Gunn, so you don't give a fuck if the director of your product is a pedophile, but if someone you were supposedly friends with does something that you interpret to be, you know, maybe fitting under that criteria, then, oh my gosh, I cannot associate with this person. You know what that tells me? That tells me that you don't care about any of this. You don't. You're just a fucking hypocrite. And you're just a fucking piece of shit human being who nobody should ever be friends with, because, my guy, people don't do that to each other. Maybe that's what you and Colin do to each other. I mean, you can't even say you and Colin anymore because you guys aren't friends anymore, but that's just not what friends do. And maybe this video will be a lesson to you. Hopefully it's a wake-up call. Maybe, you know, if you actually have a spine, you'll delete those videos about Guardians of the Galaxy, because let me give you the benefit of the doubt that, oh, I didn't know that about James Gunn. Alright, now you do. So you're either gonna go and apologize to Arachnid youth right now, or you're gonna delete those 2 videos, or you can stay the hypocrite that you are.
Yeah, and just to give like you guys an idea of how dishonest they are, they had a disagreement over edgy humor, and in response, Colin like pretended to have suicidal thoughts, and he projected that to SK. And then when SK found out that he was pretending, he was just like, "Fuck this guy, I'm done. It's over." He threw his half of the friendship bracelet into a lake or something, over a bridge. It's over. It's done.
Oh yeah, no, the fact of the matter is, I was like reading some of the stuff that was on Twitter, and I was quite surprised because the way these people were referring to each other in the third person, like, oh, Colin did this or SK did this, I was like, wow, like, you guys were never friends. I'm sorry. Maybe you were a long time ago, but, you know, I can't imagine myself doing something like that in the slightest to Joker, for example, or just to anyone else in general. Like, such an impulse wouldn't come to mind. So for you people to be ganging up together and, you know, trying to dunk on other YouTubers who have opinions that differ from yours, I think you're just joined together based on your common hatred for anything that doesn't agree with you. And once, you know, your agreements on certain issues was outweighed by your disagreements on other issues, you just, you know, throw the whole thing out the window. So maybe it's good for the both of you. Maybe Colin could find his rebound with, I don't know, the gaming grift.
Mispronounced Gollum grift, but dang, recording your friends just in a random voice call is some pretty crazy work. I don't think I've ever whipped out a voice recorder in any of my parties or Discord gaming sessions, but oh well. Continue, Kino.
Yeah, that's some ho shit, Loki.
You articulated it pretty well, but they don't really view each other as friends in the context people in the real world would look at friends. They view each other as friends in the context of making content, which is that they hold themselves to these weird, unattainable standards. And if it affects their brand, then they dump each other.
Okay, so friends with less fun benefits then.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's kind of like, you know, Sandman allying with Venom because, you know, they both want to destroy Spider-Man. They're not actually friends. The thing is, even though, you know, we might have our disagreements, at the end of the day, like, we're all channels of a similar vein, not exactly the same. There's a lot of differences, but, you know, we all love Spider-Man. So that's why, like, I'm just going to extend the olive branch, not just to Colin, but the SK as well. The link is going to be in the description. You can join the server, and me and Joker would be more than willing to offer some sort of couples counseling for the two of you. Just, you know, in order to bring back this fractured Spider-Man community together. It's what Spider-Man would want.
Yeah, that sounds corny as heck, but anyway, Kino, I'll be honest, I don't even like hearing about these losers too much. Care to drop the deets on, like, them actually having the...
I mean, you can't call them losers after I asked them to join for couples counseling. Now they're never gonna show up. Jeez, man.
Improve.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna record our conversation that we have next time we play Rivals, and I'm gonna put it on the internet. Okay? We're done. Yeah, I guess friendships can end that easily over minor disagreements.
Oh yeah, this is something he publicly admitted to a server, and if you ask him, he'll gladly admit to that because he says that he, under normal circumstances, he would not download C, but or with this alleged CSEM, there's a loophole, so that somehow makes it okay.
Endangering a child? I'm not needless. I wouldn't. No. In your hypothetical, I wouldn't be needlessly endangering a child because I would fucking censor the face. You dumbass.
When any person who uses their brain for even 5 seconds realizes, no, that doesn't make it okay at all. Like even like people who self-proclaim professional pred hunters don't lure like predators using actual CSEM or like graphic images of children because they understand that would be antithetical, and only increases the chances of it being distributed. And this is why I just call bullshit on him actually believing Arachnid Youth is pedo, as he exclaims him to be. So he could easily send all of this to the authorities, to the FBI, but he just chooses not to. He doesn't even check. He doesn't even check to see if what he has is in fact legally actionable. So that, to me, that just tells me all I need to know.
I don't think Collins has ever done anything that's actually got like an actual PDF arrested. And I don't know, as you just said, him having the actual thing but with blurred faces is far more than anything I know Arachnid Youth has ever had. And our server is pretty clean. We don't have anything like that. We don't even want to be talking about this, but they came to our server sending images of like animated babies that they had on their camera roll for some reason, as if we've ever advocated.
God, yeah.
Which there's no screenshot of us saying that. I only said I highly doubt that was what Arachnid Youth was up to. I think I heard there was like some dumb quote of Arachnid Youth maybe like saying something involving that, but as far as I know, as I said, I'm not going through 6-hour videos.
Yeah, I mean, I think the writing was on the wall from the beginning. I mean, if they were both friends with Arachnid Youth and they were both willing to throw him under the bus, it's no surprise that they were also willing to throw each other under the bus. I mean, with friends like that, who needs enemies?
But what I would like to just warn people about is just don't interact with them if you're looking for an honest debate, because that's not what they're looking for. They're just going to straw man your arguments, talk over you, just not really give you a fair shake.
And also, just to play off what you said there, for people who are close to them, who are their friends or think they might be their friends, I would just, keep an eye out. You don't want to have anything that you discuss with them privately be used for internet clout points, because these people clearly don't care about who they humiliate, as long as it means that they get attention and they seem like they have the moral high ground. And that, my friend, is specifically how friendships end any sort of relationship.
Yeah, that's basically one of the reasons we dodged that podcast we were asked for. It's like, funny enough, they asked for that on the day Marvel Rivals released, which was very telling of their interest in the game, but that's a whole nother issue. Yeah, no, we weren't attending that. One, if we nailed the little podcast of theirs, they would have just deleted the VOD. There was no trusting that. And as I said, Rivals came out that day.
Yeah, no, Joker. That reminds me, I went on to debate them twice, in SK server. Wait, no, not SK server, Colin server. And they left one stream up where they were just talking over me the entire time. But the second stream, when I came on, that was actually moderated by my friend, who just kept it as fair as possible. They did not upload that one because I just had them conceding several points, and it just made them look bad. So again, that to me was a major factor in why I just stopped associating and interacting with them, because they will not willingly upload something that makes them look bad.
Yeah, I knew they would have done that, and based on what you just told me, it seems I made the right call.
Yeah, they'll only willingly upload something if it makes the other person look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I guess that's basically it then. We were happy to have you on the show, KinoFlex.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on, and good luck with everything else.
Yeah, as I said, it was really important. I mean, like, your job being on the line because of server Spider-Man drama, it was a really horrible story, and we were happy to give you the voice, and we'll hope that this spreads enough.
Well then, now that we've gone through that brilliant expose by KinoFlex, let's talk about why we're even doing this to begin with, because believe me, this is not a subject matter that we would at all like to touch. I mean, if anything, we just laugh at you guys from a distance as you accuse each other of different things, and honestly, to me, all of you guys are these things. I don't need to go digging into things to see if you guys are freaks or not. It's all, what you guys do between yourselves doesn't really make much of a difference. To me, it doesn't really make a difference as to whether this game is good or this piece of media can be criticized in this way or another. It's all irrelevant. It's all, red herrings. But the fact of the matter is, you brought the war to us by raiding our server while Joker was in the middle of playing, what was it, Dead by Daylight, and just spamming general. And I was probably studying or something. I mean, we're not just chronically online to be keeping an eye out to see whether someone's doing this or that or that. But regardless, spamming the server with lots of unfounded allegations just because of a grudge you had with one of the people that happened to be on our server. And believe me, we have plenty of different kinds of people on our server. I mean, for the most part, like with any server, they agree with us, but we definitely have our fair share of people who disagree with us. And you honestly violated that trust we have for, you know, other members of the Spider-Man or superhero or film or gaming community by just honestly trampling all over that. It was very childish, it was very immature, and it was very unprofessional behavior. And it sought to get a reaction, and we didn't give you guys that reaction. But the opportunity presented itself, so here was the time. Now was the time to stage our counterattack.
But anyway, it is often very telling that this opportunity arose because it leads into a very philosophical topic that those that are quick to condemn and point the finger are just often up to it themselves. But even on the deeper context, the whole concept of PDF files is something that everyone subconsciously understands. These PDF files often have to prey upon children that are more susceptible as they are not fully understanding of the world around them. And they prey upon that. They're not ready to know, hey, is this normal to do? Is it normal for this guy to be asking for this, etc.? And the people who usually do that are people who have no choice. They're not like professional Rizzlers like Resikin and I who have like a full head of hair. No, more times than not, they're usually unattractive people who have no choice but to go for minds that aren't fully matured, you'd say. Now, not to say that only ugly people are PDF files. There's exceptions like Dr. Disrespect and a few others. But anyway, I'm not saying that most ugly people are PDF files. That would be bizarre. But most PDF files are probably going to be ugly. I don't mean to say this as an insult just for insult's sake, but just through sheer observation, Collins meets that criteria. There's no way he's getting any. And hell, Gollum meets that criteria too. He'll probably be right behind him in a few months, give or take. Anyway, we're gonna deal with the rest of the screwballs very briefly so we can put a lid on all of this Insomniac drama we've got. Last, we have more cases of being a victim of huge backlash, huge labels all over, drama over Spider-Man, beyond the story that Kino told us. We have the gaming rift, better known as the Gollum grift, and its various labels we've gotten over Spider-Man games. The list is huge as he's given us 8 response videos, as he calls us obsessed with him when we've only made 1 dedicated to him. And then he takes like a few jabs that I slipped in after his 4 response videos and says, oh, I'm obsessed with him when, like, you know, the minutes of uploaded content is nowhere even close to each other. You can't just take a jab that I put in a video that had a complete subject and call that the same thing as 8 response videos that usually go from 40 minutes to damn near an hour or like 3 hours in one case. But anyway, these labels or misrepresentations go from taking a review, cutting the back half of it so that nobody knows that I rated this game a 7 out of 10. He spins it as if I gave it a negative score. And as Resikin said, 7 out of 10 is objectively not a negative score. We've had words put in our mouth like anti-Ukraine just because we didn't like a certain Spider-Man game, when there's not a single soundbite of me even mentioning Ukraine on my channel. We haven't even watched half of his 8 shitty videos on me, but on the thumbnail of one of them, there were these quotations that said, they deserve to get R-worded, which is straight up defamation and moronic, as quotations can only be used in instances where people literally said what was in the quotation. In the fields of journalism or even elsewhere, that shit teeter-totters on being a borderline suable offense. We've been called racist against our own race, me and some other guy that turned out to be some flip-flopping loser, etc.
Yeah, not to mention that we've had multiple channels and countless of their subscribers come after us, attacking us as a result of their quote-unquote debunking or response vids to our videos. And while they say, don't attack them, oh, it's just a response video, throughout their response videos, the whole time, they're just denigrating us, dehumanizing us, misrepresenting us. So honestly, it only makes sense that their subscribers will want to come directly to our channels and attack us there. And even among themselves, they talk about trying to get us banned just for having opinions that aren't, you know, adjacent to theirs, or even talking about offing us and torturing us in their servers. I mean, if you get off on that, good for you, but it's just very strange. Like, it's all cape shit. It's really not that serious.
Anyway, while we definitely have plenty more details we could have delved into, like Gollum starting this barrage of response videos after he felt left out when we only responded to some crispy loser who made one on us and skipped his shitty segment, along with other details like us being lambasted for our opinions on us not wanting certain X-rated overrepresentation being jammed in what's pretty much a kid's game like Spider-Man. Even though I'm fine with the existence of these people, such as various musicians I like, on top of Kevin Conroy's Batman, or certain games that have those as optional features on top of those games being M-rated due to the inherently sexual nature, but for the sake of time, we wanted to be as straight to the point as possible without fluffing things out. Even then, we have videos dedicated to all those subjects or screwballs like Gollum, who we once rushed out a video on, but never again took the bait even after 10 videos later. But anyway, once again, thanks for watching this expose, as Resikin and I really do wish to have our hands be clean of this bottom tier PDF filth after this video. Stay tuned for more actual videos that aren't meaningless or trying to put others down for the sake of boosting themselves up.